Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health TV and radio show. I'm your host, Sarah Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of three. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you're notified every week with my new podcasts on Mondays and Tuesdays. And if you haven't already, join my free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health, and you will be a part of a like-minded group to support you on your journey, in addition to truly taking control of your health. The protocols and supplements I discuss are always found at sarahbantahealth.com. Today, we are talking about my diabetes prevention plan. This is something I have so much passion about because we really have so much control over diabetes and it runs in my family. And believe me, I was on my way to having diabetes. I had PCOS, which is insulin resistance. And if any woman out there is suffering from PCOS, just know it's the number one cause for infertility. And if you cure your insulin resistance and your diabetes, you probably will cure your PCOS and your fertility issues. So just a side note. But here we are talking about diabetes. What is diabetes? Diabetes is a chronic metabolic disorder characterized by high levels of glucose or sugar in the blood. And the high levels of glucose occur due to problems with insulin production, insulin action, or both. So what is insulin? Insulin's a hormone. It's produced by the pancreas, and that helps regulate the blood sugar levels by facilitating the uptake of glucose in the cell for energy or storage. So essentially, the glucose is in your blood, it's trying to get into the cells, and the insulin is the key to unlock the door to let the sugar in so the cell has energy. So what are the different types of diabetes? And there are different ones, and type 1 diabetes should not even be called diabetes, and then type 2, because you get them confused. You think they're related and they're totally different. There are more than 3 types of diabetes, and I talk about them in another article at sarahbantahealth.com, how to reverse diabetes in 30 days. So make sure you check that out. There are multiple types, but we're just going to talk about 3 right now. Type 1 diabetes, often referred to as juvenile or insulin-dependent diabetes, is an autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. And this can happen because of a virus or some sort of other big event that happens in your health that causes this reaction. As a result, the pancreas produces little to no insulin. And then people with type 1 diabetes require lifelong insulin therapy to control their blood sugar levels. They are dependent on insulin shots. Sometimes you can reduce the amount of insulin you need, but really most people need to continue taking an external source of insulin because the body stops producing it. This type of diabetes typically develops in childhood or adolescence, but really can occur in any age. But then you've got type 2 diabetes, and this is the most common form of diabetes, accounting for the majority of cases, and it is skyrocketing. It occurs when the body becomes resistant to the effects of insulin or fails to produce enough insulin to maintain those normal sugar levels. So I think of it as that screaming parent where the mom is like, stop yelling, stop doing this, stop playing outside and breaking everything, whatever. And the kids stop listening because the mom just keeps yelling. Well, the cells stop listening to the insulin, and there's so much sugar flooding the floodgates of the body, and the body's like, I'm pushing more insulin, and all of a sudden the body says, I give up. I'm not going to listen anymore. and then the blood sugar skyrockets. So type 2 diabetes is often associated with factors such as obesity, sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, genetic predisposition, and initially, lifestyle modifications such as weight loss, regular exercise, dietary changes may be sufficient enough to manage the blood sugar levels. But when I'm talking about the fact that there's a sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, obesity, which came first? And this is where it gets really interesting, because if you actually lower someone's blood sugar and you reverse their diabetes, they are actually going to naturally want to get off the couch and start moving their body. That is something that people don't realize. And this happens in children, where you really don't have a placebo effect, and they start losing weight after they reverse their insulin resistance. So did obesity come first, or did the insulin resistance and diabetes came first? So we'll get into this a little bit more. The third type of diabetes we're going to talk about is gestational diabetes, occurring during pregnancy, and it affects some women who have never had diabetes before. It is caused by hormonal changes and insulin resistance during pregnancy. During pregnancy is one of the times that the human body, or the female body, actually naturally becomes insulin resistant. We all do, but it goes too much in some women where it becomes gestational diabetes. Controlling blood sugar levels during pregnancy is it's essential to ensure that healthy pregnancy and to reduce the risk of complications. So what are the complications? And I've seen this in my own family. This is really hitting at home. You can have issues with eyesight, kidneys, leading to dialysis. You do not want to get yourself into dialysis. Nerve issues, heart issues, blood vessel issues, which then become diabetic retinopathy, diabetic nephropathy, which is nerve damage, cardiovascular diseases, foot ulcers. So what is the cause of diabetes? I talked about it a little bit, that insulin resistance. So what's behind it? Increased fructose in the diet and fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So when you think about fatty liver, you think about, oh, it's all the drunks out there, the people that are addicted to alcohol. No, before 1980, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and non-alcoholic fatty liver did not exist in children, and now they do. So what changed? The food supply. Processed foods with high levels of fructose and no fiber. That's why our parents are doing fine now, because without all of this organic food when we were growing up, they didn't care about that, right? But what they were doing is they were eating real food, real carbs, real fruits and vegetables with fiber. So the food supply now has no fiber to stop the rise in the blood sugar and insulin, and that is causing this issue. So let's get into fructose versus glucose calories, because I would much rather you have natural glucose and natural fruits and vegetables and sweet potatoes than a ketogenic processed protein bar. Processed foods usually are high in high fructose corn syrup. They're stripped of fiber, and the processed foods have no fiber to slow down this rise of blood sugar and insulin. And the severe spikes in the blood sugar quickly lead to chronic diseases like leaky gut, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver disease, because the fructose is metabolized different than glucose. A calorie is not just a calorie. They are not equal. The body treats all different calories different. So fructose and glucose are both simple sugars, both with 4 calories per gram, but that isn't the whole story. What's different is the absorption. Glucose is readily absorbed by the body through the cell's lining and in the small intestines with the help of specific glucose transporters. Fructose, on the other hand, is absorbed right in the liver and easily converts to fat. Glucose metabolism relies on that insulin, a hormone that we just talked about, produced by the pancreas. And insulin helps transport that glucose into the cells, and it can be used for energy or stored as glycogen. You have a certain amount of glycogen stores in the body. That's why athletes tend to like to have some carbs to fill their muscles up for their glycogen stores. Now, what's different is fructose does not require insulin for absorption. You might think, oh, well, that's a good thing. No insulin, that's a great thing. No, what happens is that it just jacks up your fatty liver, and it just goes straight into the fatty liver. And then also that fructose reduces energy in the body by stealing ATP. Liver metabolism is another way that they're different. Once fructose reaches the liver, it undergoes a different metabolic pathway compared to the glucose. It's rapidly phosphorylated by an enzyme called fructokinase, leading to the production of fructose 1-phosphate. And this process does not regulate the metabolism of fructose, allowing for a more rapid conversion into other metabolic intermediates. And this is where the fat storage comes in. Unlike glucose, which can be readily converted into glycogen and stored in the liver and the muscles for later use, fructose is not efficiently used for glycogen synthesis. Instead, excess fructose is more likely to be converted into those fatty acids and stored as fat in the liver. And this process is called de novo lipogenesis. And this is why high fructose intake, particularly from the added sugars, has been associated with that increase of fatty liver and metabolic disorders. I'm not talking about the fructose from fruit. The fruit has the fiber to slow that increase. It also has some nutrients in there that combat this process. It also will affect your hormones. Fructose does not elicit the same rapid and robust insulin response as glucose. Instead, it primarily affects the release of other hormones like the insulin, like growth factor IGF-1 and leptin, which can influence hunger and your satisfying your appetite signals, potentially impacting your overall energy balance. Now, if you have been listening to me talk about Wegovy and Ozempic, they work with the IGF-1 enzyme, and that is influencing your hunger. So what's interesting is when you eat fruit, it actually can make you more hungry, leading to higher caloric intake. So next time you have a meal, start with your protein, then have your salad or your vegetables, and see how full you are. Then have something that's sweet, like a dessert, and notice how your brain says, oh my gosh, I'm a lot more hungry than I was 10 minutes ago. Now, rationally, that doesn't make sense, but your brain is addicted to that sugar and that fructose and the wiring in the brain that says, I want more, I want more. Also with the mitochondrial health, and I mentioned this a little bit ago, but the fructose is believed to actually lower ATP. Here we are eating food with high fructose corn syrup in it, thinking it's going to give us energy, and it's actually stealing energy away from us, the cellular energy, which is ATP. And it indirectly lowers your metabolism. So it's stealing away energy, and it's slowing down metabolism, and it's being directly converted into fat. In 3 different ways, it's going to lead to obesity and gaining weight and fatty liver and insulin resistance. So while fructose and glucose are metabolized differently, they are often consumed together in the form of sucrose, which is interesting, and high fructose corn syrup. These sweeteners consist of roughly equal parts of the glucose and fructose. So the overall impact on your health depends on, is the fiber in there? How much are you eating? And is it processed food or is it whole fruits? Now, Fatty liver leads to diabetes, or diabetes leads to fatty liver, right? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, fatty liver is also known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, refers to the accumulation of excess fats in the liver, and this condition is commonly associated with the obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. But which came first? Well, the exact mechanisms are not fully understood. The fatty liver can contribute to insulin resistance and diabetes. And if you don't have the fatty liver, I believe then you probably will have a better chance of not having insulin resistance and diabetes. Number one, it increases the release of free fatty acids. So in fatty liver, there's an excess buildup of triglycerides in the liver cells. And this can lead to increased release of free fatty acids in the bloodstream. Elevated levels of the free fatty acids can interfere with the insulin signaling in the peripheral tissues, such as skeletal muscles and the fat tissues, contributing to insulin resistance. You will also see an increase in inflammation. Fatty liver is characterized by inflammation within the liver tissues, and this inflammation releases various pro-inflammatory molecules called cytokines. And these cytokines can disrupt insulin signaling pathways in the liver and the peripheral tissues, leading to that insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance at the liver leads to diabetes. Insulin resistance at the ovaries leads to PCOS. So this is where you see insulin resistance at different parts of the body is going to lead to different diseases. You will also see with fatty liver an impaired insulin clearance. The liver plays a crucial role, and that's why I say you gotta love your liver, in insulin clearance in the bloodstream. In fatty liver, the liver's ability to clear the insulin is impaired, and this can result in elevated insulin levels in the blood, which then can contribute to insulin resistance in the peripheral tissues. And then you have a dysfunction of the fat tissue. Fatty liver is often associated with excess accumulation of fat in adipose tissues or obesity. And when this adipose tissue becomes overwhelmed by excess fat storage, it can become dysfunctional and release pro-inflammatory substances called adipokines. And these substances can promote insulin resistance in various tissues. You also have a disrupted hepatic, which means liver, insulin signaling. And insulin normally regulates glucose production in the liver by suppressing the liver's glucose output. In fatty liver, there's a disruption in the hepatic insulin signaling, leading to increased glucose production in the liver. And this elevated glucose production can contribute to insulin resistance on top of what's already going on by causing higher blood glucose levels. And just another side thought, when you have too much toxicity in the body, your body needs to store those toxins in the fat cells, and has a propensity to make your body gain more fat cells and fatten up the already existing fat cells. You also have seed oils in the processed foods that we're talking about. So not just the fructose, but you have these seed oils that have been introduced to our diets in the 1980s. The processed foods typically contain about 21% sugar and up to 50% or more of seed oils. And these seed oils stay in your body for over a year. It's not like the sugar that goes in and out of the body within a day. The combination of the high fructose corn syrup and seed oils creates a perfect storm of inflammation, fatty liver, insulin resistance, oxidative stress, glycation, and mitochondrial dysfunction. And since 1865, the consumption of seed oils has increased by 25 times. We did not have this issue a long time ago. Our ancestors did not consume the seed oils, and when they did, they were in balance with the right oils that we need. The seed oils to look out for And they are at Whole Foods, they are at Mother's Market, they are at all the natural markets, they're in the organic food. They include canola oil, rice bran oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, and peanut oil. So look at the nutrients on the back labels. And really, you don't want to be eating foods with back labels, because if it's a whole food, it doesn't need a label. So you want to focus on the right oils like avocado oil, olive oil, butter, ghee, and all organic, of course. So how do we prevent diabetes? My job is to take a huge issue like this, where insulin resistance and diabetes is skyrocketing. I mean, we talk about pandemics. This is the true pandemic, because we have this standard American diet and the foods are so addictive. You don't even know why you're so addictive, and you think it's your willpower. It's not your willpower. They have tricked your brain and your gut to be linked to these foods for this dopamine release. And we add this dopamine release and these addictive behaviors. They're strengthened by the other addictions in our lives, like social media and gambling and alcohol and other drugs. But sugar has multiple pathways to become addictive in your body, where even cocaine and heroin only have one pathway. So they have done a great job in tricking us to make us feel like it is all our fault. The good news is I have come up with a protocol to reverse the damage, reverse diabetes, get off your medication with the help of your doctor, of course, and make it easy. And that protocol is the Ascent Diet Cleanse. This set of supplements is a life-changing 30-day cleanse and detox weight loss program that effectively reverses fatty liver, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, in addition to increasing fat burn, metabolism, energy, longevity, immune system, and detoxing from the heavy metals and the radiation that we all need to be aware of as well. The synergy with the lifestyle changes that we'll talk about in a minute is literally going to make the shift, where within 2 days, you will sit there going, Sarah, I can do this. This is easy. I actually, for the first time, feel like I have control. And the key in this process is the accelerated keto. The accelerated keto is not just a keto supplement. It is an intermittent fasting supplement. It flips your body into ketosis, where it starts burning its own body fat for energy instead of seeking out the glucose from food. It's an effective way to reverse the insulin resistance, fatty liver, and diabetes. It burns the excess calories, suppresses your appetite, while maintaining high levels of brain energy and physical energy. And so when I say a keto supplement, it puts your body into ketosis. You snack on your fat stores, so that's the fat portion of your diet, and you support it with wild animal protein, and you fill in with the vegetables and some fats, depending on your weight loss goals. And so as the body is burning ketones from being on the accelerated keto combined with intermittent fasting and a low carb diet, the insulin sensitivity improves, leads to the weight loss, especially the liver fat and the visceral fat. And the visceral fat is that hard fat around your organs. It's there for survival, because if you're being attacked by an animal, you want to protect your organs. So that's the visceral fat, but it's very dangerous. Furthermore, the ATP production, which is your true cellular energy, increases by 10 times compared to burning just sugar for energy, leading to an increase in physical energy. And so while the accelerated keto takes healing to the next level, the additional ingredients break down saturated fats in the liver into unsaturated fats. And why is that important? It will help burn the dangerous visceral fat around the belly and the liver fat, but it's also easier to convert into ketones. And the more the liver is defatted and unclogged, the more efficient it is to breaking down the fat molecules into usable energy, reducing insulin resistance and diabetes, and burning that belly fat. And then what also happens, because the thyroid hormones convert from T4, which is the inactive hormone, into T3, that happens in the liver. So as the accelerated keto is working on your liver fat, it's also cleansing your liver at the same time, helping your thyroid hormones work better, increasing your metabolism and weight loss. So this is where it's all synergistic and the results come faster. You improve your muscle mass because that's going to help utilize excess glucose and manage insulin resistance. And the accelerated keto includes a compound known as HMB, which prevents muscle wasting. And a lot of people with diabetes and insulin resistance, they will actually lose muscle mass, right? And so this is important to keep on that healthy muscle tissue, and that will have more mitochondria and more increased ATP because muscle tissue has an increased amount of ATP, which most people don't worry about. They just want to lose weight and see the bathroom scale go down. Well, most people losing weight on a regular diet actually lose just as much muscle as fat. And then when their metabolism is slowed and they go back to eating their regular way, they gain only fat back. And that's what they're seeing in people with taking Ozempic and some of these other diabetic drugs just for weight loss. They're losing their muscle weight. With accelerated keto, you are actually maintaining your muscle mass and just losing fat weight. What else is in the accelerated keto is the organic mucal, and it's known to break down fats in the body and ignite an energy spark to burn those fats, and as it's breaking them down. And so it's the match that lights the keto process more quickly than any other keto supplement. It's almost like it's a double whammy, and it also detoxifies the body and the liver. So as I'm promoting and telling you and guiding you into doing at least 4 liver flushes a year, there's some people that are a little too hesitant and don't want to do it. The accelerated keto is cleansing the liver on a daily basis, and that is really important. It has organic trichottu, which heats up the digestive fire. And you tell me who doesn't have digestive issues now, right? So this allows for an extremely high absorption of the ketones and the other cofactors, but also increase the metabolic rate and digestive fire. In addition to the accelerated keto, you have the Acceleradine iodine. So they work synergistically to create a huge boost in ATP. The accelerated keto boosts it by 10 times. The Acceleradine increases ATP by 18 times. So you do the math. There's nothing like it when you combine these two. So as a result, it's helping lower blood sugar and insulin resistance while increasing the fat oxidation at the cellular level, increasing metabolism, caloric burn, your cognition. Iodine is known as the #1 spiritual element. I have so many people who start taking it thinking it's just going to help with their metabolism, and they go, Sarah, what's going on? My brain fog's lifting. I feel like I'm getting rid of the toxic people in my life. I feel amazing. My depression's going away. My anxiety's going away. It is the #1 predictor. Iodine deficiency is the #1 predictor for depression. So not only are we going to see a huge difference in your body and your insulin resistance, but you're going to see a difference in your mental capacity, your focus, and your ability to have a spiritual element in your life, whatever that means to you. ATP is true cellular energy. So when that increases, the energy and the fat oxidation increase, and that's going to help with the fat loss and the liver fat loss and the weight loss. And then the Acceleradine feeds the thyroid the needed iodine to make the thyroid hormones. This helps improve metabolism and physical energy. And as the thyroid becomes optimized and the ATP is improved, the diabetes is going to reverse much quicker. And you also are going to start getting rid of your cravings for the foods that got you in trouble in the first place. You then add in the accelerated thyroid. So most people today in 2023 compared to just 3 years ago have hypothyroidism or suboptimal thyroid. And then on top of that, most people with insulin resistance or diabetes definitely have hypothyroidism or suboptimal thyroid. The accelerated thyroid is the most comprehensive supplement that I have come across, and this is why we made it. I take thyroid supplements for my hypothyroidism, and I was taking multiple supplements to support my thyroid. Well, over the last 3 years, we have formulated a perfect combination of those supplements in the right ratios from the only cleanest ingredients that we could find, and then enhance it with our scalar frequencies to detox the thyroid from radiation and heavy metals and to heal the thyroid. So the accelerated thyroid not just increases metabolism, fat oxidation, helps the thyroid, unlike any other thyroid supplement, but it heals it with the scalar frequencies that we have added in. No other thyroid supplement incorporates all three of these sources. And so you're getting rid of the heavy metals. And did you know that mercury and lead and the fluoride, the bromide, the chlorine, they all love to be in your thyroid. If you don't have enough iodine, or you just are, it's like a sitting duck waiting to attract all of these heavy metals, radiation, and toxins. So between the Acceleradine iodine and the accelerated thyroid, you're kicking out those toxins, kicking out the radiation, and healing the thyroid and speeding up your metabolism. Then as we are detoxing, right? Because when we are losing weight, we are letting go of the toxins that were in the fat cells, because our body encapsulates the toxins in those fat cells as a survival mechanism. So if you are exposed to way too many toxins, it's going to be hard for your body to let go of fat, right? Because that fat is incorporated into the survival mechanism to make sure that it is getting out of the blood. Well, we're kicking out these toxins through the accelerated keto, Acceleradine, and even the accelerated thyroid. You want the accelerated cellular detox powder to soak up those toxins and take them out through your intestines very gently, bypassing your liver and your kidneys. It helps remove the toxins that contribute to hindered liver function, that contributes to the insulin resistance and the diabetes. It also coats the stomach and the intestinal lining, reduces inflammation, helps with bloat and regularity, and alleviates issues like Crohn's disease and colitis, both of which I used to suffer from. I cannot live without the cellular detox powder. So all of these supplements that I've been talking about so far, I take on a daily basis. So not just when I'm doing the Ascent diet cleanse. And as the inflammation decreases and the toxins associated with liver fat are soaked up, absorption of nutrients and weight loss are improved. Then you add in the accelerated silver. The accelerated scalar silver helps to enhance the immune system's ability to devitalize foreign pathogens like the viruses, bacteria, fungus, candida, parasites. And those may contribute to insulin resistance. Because why? So if number one, foreign pathogens like fungus, candida, bacteria, what do they eat? Glucose and sugar. So those cravings that are overwhelming and you can't stop them, it might be the fact that you are filled with fungus, and that fungus is saying, feed me and feed me now. And it is relentless. And that's why you have such strong cravings. Well, the accelerated silver is killing off those foreign pathogens, boosting your immune system, because as your body is fighting a pathogen over here, it's going to allow other pathogens to wreak havoc and come up and surface over here. So to keep everything strong, your body's going to take care of itself. And then the body triggers anti-inflammatory processes leading to optimal health. And this encourages better liver health and improved insulin regulation. I include in the Ascent diet cleanse either the quintessential 0.9 or the wild lights, and these are electrolyte formulas. The quintessential supports homeostasis, rehydration, normal digestion, and what it's doing is essentially helping with the intracellular hydration. You can also do this with the accelerated salt, which is filled with over 62 minerals. Tastes amazing on your food. You can also put just a touch on your tongue when you are trying to suppress your appetite, or maybe you're nauseous. A lot of people come to do the Ascent Diet Cleanse because they get nauseous when they eat proteins and fats, and that is showing you that your liver's backed up and your gallbladder's backed up. And most people are experiencing that now after the pandemic because of what the spike protein has done to our liver function and the ACE2 receptor. So what is happening is our fat and our protein digestion has been compromised. So you really want to make sure you are using the right amount of electrolytes to plump up the volume of your blood, to flush out the toxins, and also to help digest the fats and the proteins and help with any nausea, help suppress your appetite. Then the end of the cleanse, you do the liver flush, and it is not difficult at all. I've made it super easy to the point where all of my kids actually agree to doing it now. The supplements soften the liver stones over a period of 2 weeks, and then as a result, you are going to release those stones, the liver stones and gallbladder stones, into the toilet on the last day. Super easy to do. And you literally will see hundreds to thousands of stones. Now, the first time you do it, if you don't see stones, that means that you've just cracked the door open for the next one, where it will be like the floodgates come out and stones will be in the toilet. When you're done, once you're rehydrated again, and I always recommend using a lot of the accelerated salt to rehydrate yourself, because your energy comes from hydration, not necessarily food, right? We've got thousands of calories of fat on our body to burn. We don't necessarily need food right now for energy. It comes from hydration. So after you hydrate your cells, you will see an increase in your metabolism. I literally can feel my thyroid jump up the day after I do the liver flush. And I've been doing them now on a monthly basis, and my health has never been better. I feel so amazing. I truly feel like I am anti-aging. We also include a supplement called Laxa Comfort to help with constipation. Most people are constipated. Now, if you tend to have diarrhea, you don't need the Laxa Comfort, but you do want to make sure that you are having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day consistently to get the toxins out. Constipation can inhibit detoxification, weight loss, and fat burning. On top of that, if the results are not getting to, you're not seeing the results quick enough, you can add in the berberine HCl. And it's so funny because now berberine's getting a lot of press for being the natural alternative to Ozempic. Berberine is known to help manage insulin resistance in diabetes, like the medication metformin, without the side effects. It supports normal glucose and fat metabolism. It slows the rise in insulin and blood sugar. So instead of having a peak of the insulin and blood sugar, it slows the rise. So I recommend taking it when you are especially having higher carb meals. And the berberine also has the berberine HCl has that HCl in it to help with the digestion of the fats and the proteins that a lot of us have an issue with. So what other ways do you need to incorporate to reverse diabetes? You want to increase your wild animal protein, not the chicken, not the conventional beef that are loaded in the wrong oils. We mentioned seed oils, but the conventional beef and chicken have these omega-6 inflammatory oils, but they also have amyloid proteins. Those amyloid proteins don't get broken down in your body. They cannot be used for your muscle tissue in your brain and the repair that goes on in the body. And then they also get deposited in your brain and cause Alzheimer's and dementia. So we want to focus on the wild animal protein now. The conventional chicken and beef are being vaccinated as well. So something to think about. This is not what was happening 10 years ago. Was I eating chicken 10 years ago or even 4 years ago? Yes. We are in a new reality. So things have changed. So you want to focus on at least 1 gram of wild animal protein per pound of desired lean body mass. So let's say, for instance, instance, you're 200 pounds, but you want to get to 150 pounds. That's your weight loss goal. You want to focus on getting 150 grams of wild animal protein in your diet. It will satisfy your appetite, build lean muscle mass, eliminate the bloat. It heals leaky gut and keeps you in that fat burning state. So if you break your fast with wild animal protein, you're actually going to increase and bump up that fat burning because the glucagon to insulin ratio increases over the fasting state. Really important to know. So that is really important, and it will also trigger that hormone called CCK that suppresses the appetite and supports your lean muscle gains. Yes, you can lean bulk, as we talk about in my family. My kids are all athletes and they're wanting to gain muscle and not necessarily gain that fat, right? So it will increase that fat burning. And the animal proteins that I'm talking about, lamb, bison, deer, grass-fed beef is okay, elk, wild salmon, Arctic char, other wild fish, they provide all of the essential amino acids, the high omega-3 fatty acids, collagen, essential vitamins like vitamin D, E, and the Bs that are needed for lean muscle growth. You can't get this supplied in the vegetables anymore. Our soils are depleted. So you want to prioritize that protein. You're getting those omega-3 fatty acids that are so important. I was asked if it's necessary to supplement with fish oil. Well, number one, most fish oil supplements out there are actually rancid and you're doing more harm than good. And if you're eating these wild proteins, especially having wild fish twice a week, you don't necessarily need to supplement with omega-3s. So you want to stay away from the chicken. You want to focus on the wild animal protein and stay away from the conventional beef as much as you can. Those are inflammatory to the body. Then you want to focus on limiting vegetables, grains, and beans. So some vegetables, not all vegetables. Some of these vegetables that include the sulfur vegetables like cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, and then some of the oxalates like spinach, kale, even the almonds and some of the nuts. Sometimes the onions and garlic and egg yolks, which are all sulfur, can be triggers for you. They're all low carb. They all fit into this diet, but they could be detoxing your detox pathways. Now, everybody's different. Once you're healed, can you introduce these? Yeah, probably. I don't have a problem eating them in moderation at times, but my goodness, I used to look like I was pregnant because I ate cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower every night, and I didn't understand why I was retaining so much water and looked like I was 4 months pregnant. I never saw my abs, right? So there's this thing where your body is telling you that you are eating something that it's not agreeing with. So listen to yourself, your body. Your body will give you those clues. Being bloated, having constipation, that's not normal. You want to eliminate the grains and the beans. They're full of these lectins and oxalates, and they cause the leaky gut. They cause issues. They're also anti-nutrients, where they're actually stealing the nutrients from your body, not just not giving you nutrients. So once the gut is healed and insulin sensitivity is achieved, you can start incorporating a couple of these. You want to be exercising around mealtime, engaging in just a short walk, vibrating on a vibration machine, doing a little trampoline. That's going to increase fat oxidation. and it will lower your blood sugar. It will blunt the rise. It will reduce the stress hormones, because your stress hormones on its own could be causing insulin resistance. And did you know these awesome little things called smartphones could be causing insulin resistance without putting a morsel of food in your body? So make sure you are looking at the amount of radiation that you're being exposed to, the Zooms you're on, the amount of computer time you have. If you have a smart meter on your house, 5G tower on your block, make sure you are looking at the radiation exposure. You want to eliminate the processed foods. The processed foods are extremely hyperpalatable. They blunt your normal taste buds, leading to overeating of sugar foods. And they also blunt that CCK hormone to shut off the appetite. So you're going to increase your eating and overeat. The processed foods have no fiber that slows down the blood sugar. So your blood sugar is going to spike and be exaggerated. And these processed foods contain emulsifiers in them, which bring together fat and water to sustain their shelf life. However, these emulsifiers destroy the mucosal lining in the gut, causing a sensory neurons to retract. And then the CCK signal doesn't work when you actually are eating what I'm telling you to eat. So it destroys them. Then you're not going to have that signal that says stop eating. The processed foods are also altering the brain's ability to regulate dopamine, which impacts the sugar cravings and your addiction to food. So processed foods make you more addicted to food. You want to eliminate the fake sweeteners, which also are going to raise your blood sugar, create an insulin response, and stimulate the appetite for real sugar and carbs, and also wreak havoc on the gut. And as a result, leaky gut surfaces, bloat, constipation. You think you're doing the right thing. Even monk fruit and stevia, they're less problematic, but too much of it can back up the liver. So try to eliminate. It's amazing when you bring down the sweetness in your diet, your tongue gets a lot more sensitive to the taste of sweet. You want to eat your protein first when you sit down, right? That's going to sustain or suppress your appetite. You might not even finish the foods on your plate. You also can incorporate the stem cell activation patches. The X49 helps reduce body fat and liver fat, increase muscle mass, increase energy and recovery. So you're actually going to have the energy to go out and work out and get off the couch. That's where which came first, the exercise or the weight loss, right? Insulin resistance or fatty liver. Well, we want to incorporate all of these things so synergistically your results happen quickly. The energy enhancer patch increases caloric burn, fat burning, and metabolic rate, and actually burns an extra 300 calories a day and increases ATP in the mitochondria, increases that fat oxidation, increases the heart rate variability, and you just feel better with that excess energy. X39 patch. This patch is the overall stem cell patch that increases stem cell production, resets over 4,000 genes into a younger state. If you're interested in learning more about the patches, leave a comment below. Happy to help you order them or connect you to them. I also have incorporated a few podcasts on my channel with Heather Hineker and the owner of the company, David Schmidt, talking about the benefits of the patches. So thanks again for joining me today. What did you learn? Do you have insulin resistance? Do you have fatty liver? Do you have diabetes? I can help you, and I can help you with your health issues. You can contact me directly through my website. I'll put together a protocol for you. Is the Ascent Diet Cleanse appropriate for you? I will let you know. Join the free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. There's no downside, and I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health. The idea is to give you your control back over your life. You don't want to be going to the hospital. You don't want to be ending up on dialysis. You don't want to have pain and arthritis and brain fog. All of these things are associated with insulin resistance and diabetes. I have reversed my insulin resistance. I've reversed my own PCOS. I've helped a lot of people out there like you reverse their diabetes. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, across over 100 channels under Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. If you like what you hear today, please share with a few friends and subscribe. That way I will be able to bring on more guests to share their knowledge with you. Join us every week, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. You can find the supplements at my website, sarabantahealth.com, and use coupon WELCOME10 for 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us here, and have a great week.